That was like a super short music intro because it took forever for the internet to catch up and go live.
I looked up and I was like, did he forget to press the button?
I was like, there's like 2 seconds of the song left before this is
Man.
just.
Well, welcome to Indie Invasion Shorts, guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we are back. Something, I don't know. Solving the world's gaming problems.
There you go. Yeah. In of course, the fastest 30 minutes.
Fastest 30 minutes in gaming. That's right. So, all right, Eric, show us what you've been working on. You already showed me, but I want everybody else. That thing is sweet. Gotta love Blacksite Studios.
Yeah. I mean, I still have 3 more kits to build of their stuff, but Mama Luna's is almost done. So I glued this on the other day.
Now, was the weathering on that you glued on, or did you?
Yeah, it was. I ended up using spray Mod Podge on it because it was just paper. I want to try and make it last the best I can. And then, yeah, there we go. I can zoom in on them. My homemade awnings.
Nice. This came out good.
Paper towels and wood glue.
Are you going to paint them with the stripes, the Italian stripes?
Yeah, so they're going to end up looking like the ones that they give you.
Nice.
So, yeah. I'm going to paint them up like that color, and then it is done.
What's happening, Ron and Todd? Ron, I'm still looking for those files for you. They're from, gosh, man, I don't know how long ago. And but if I find them, I'll send them. I'll send them to you, and you can check them out for those weird. Oh, these weird things right here. Yeah, these freaky little things right here.
Oh yeah, your little bulbous,
little spore plants,
things.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So I finished my first. So I posted in the group, obviously, that I had finally pulled the trigger on buying some Etsy miniatures. I know you had gotten several before.
Yeah, I got stuff for Crisis Protocol.
Yeah, well, I finally got. I just had this vision. I'm holding this, getting ready to show you, and I just had this vision of me dropping it right here on my concrete floor. So we're going to remove that vision from my brain. But I finally finished my first one.
I like that model. That's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a little steampunk broom kind of thing. And she came out really good. I'm not the best painter in the world, but I'm really happy with how it all came out. I'll post a better picture in the light after I'm done with that. And then, of course, because I got my 3D printer back up and running, I've been printing like crazy. You can hear it in the background there. Oops. I got my gnomish submarine.
Now, I you said gnomish, but I think you still should have painted it yellow and painted not just Ringo, but cartoon Ringo in the window.
I can print another one. It's no big deal. Oh yeah, Todd. I've got my 3D printing addiction, and I was so happy that I got my, my 3D printer was sitting there forever. I needed a new hot end, and I just, life gets in the way and whatever. But I finally pulled the trigger and ordered one, put it in, and then printed, and it was like instant, right back into the addiction because I think we had talked with Ron. I think on the Hobby Hangout about Evan Carruthers supported design, his ones that you don't need to print with any supports, and the Kickstarters he did where you get just tons and tons of files. Well, I have 3 sets of those, 3 of his different Kickstarters. So I got a ton of stuff to paint.
You're basically saying, when is this going to be done so I can start the next one?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I was actually eyeballing another ender just so I could set it next to it and have them both going. I had to order 2 more rolls of filament today. So, hey, there's Alder. What's happening, sir?
Morning, Alder. Yeah, Todd said he's got some yellow filament for you.
Yellow filament. We all print with some yellow filament, right? I could change the song, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I've been working on. I've just been trying to get through I don't want to call it a backlog since we don't say your pile of shame.
No, it's
opportunity.
Pile of opportunity.
So I'm just mostly trying to get my ones that have like 3 or 4 colors on them. I'm trying to finish those. And a bunch of them were my Deep Wars and Shadow Sea models. So I've been painting a lot of those lately. And Eric, you commented that like, oh, you're doing all the underwater stuff, not so much Twisted. That's because there is nothing twisted that I don't have.
He's got to wait for new stuff to come out.
Yeah, there's no new. I need new stuff to come out before I can start painting any of that. So, Mini Warmutt's here. Hello, sir. And Tim, you're here. He said he's been running his almost nonstop since he got it set back up. I know.
Cool.
I know. Me too. You can run somewhere and pick some up? I have to order mine. Man, that's cool. I wish I actually thought about that today when I was sitting down to order the filament. I was like, man, that would be really cool if I could just stop at the store. Actually, that would probably be horrible.
Go to the Walmart and pick it up.
Yeah. Oh, Mini Warmutt's playing some Zombicide. King Rotbelly. Nice. How many people are playing Deep Wars with you? Mike asks. Well, my buddy Raul, he plays Deep Wars with me, but he is currently playing the real version of Deep Wars in the Pacific Ocean. He's in the Navy, so he's deployed right now. But he plays. My son kind of plays. I got a couple other guys that are somewhat interested, but I just play solo. The solo rules came out with the Grace Flynn supplement. I play just about everything solo anyway, just because with the kids that I have, as many of them as I have, me setting aside time, I got to take it when it gets there. So I just play something solo if I have an opportunity. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh gosh, Tim has Micro Center and Miniature Market. Ooh,
man.
I would need 6 jobs just to live.
I feel sorry for your wallet, Tim.
Yeah, man. It's like you need to call Elon Musk and be like, hey, man, can I borrow some money? Because I live next to Micro Center and Miniature Market. You understand, right? Wow. Yeah, that would be dangerous. Well, what are we talking about tonight, Eric?
So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about rules. A lot of times we like to talk about narrative in a game and how it affects your game. And it kind of got me noodling over just rules in general, like rules basically, rules in games that, affect the games, whether they're geared towards thematic type of elements in the game or just straight up mechanics. These rules can kind of affect the games in a way.
Whoa, look at this stranger.
Just based on those.
What's happening?
What's up, Adam? Welcome in. So, it got me thinking a little bit about that, and not so much what we prefer. I mean, granted, we probably will talk about that a little bit, but yeah, I mean, you think about games out there and how I got me thinking of looking at the rules and specifically. Like I said, we like narrative games, but what about games that have rules that are written for themes?
I know why you went down that road. You went down that road because of zombies.
Maybe.
Because you have a zombie theme addiction. So that's why
it did make me think about that. A lot of the games that I know I get into is really the first thing I look at is the theme. If it's a zombie game, regardless of the rules, if it's, I usually find out after the fact, but sometimes they can be stinkers. But just based on the theme, I'm probably going to dive in. And just to basically put a definition to themes, there's something I pulled offline. Now, thematic games are games that emphasize a highly developed theme, characters, heroes, or factions with individually defined abilities, player-to-player conflict, and usually feature a moderate to, kind of that bit of luck factor in them.
Yeah.
Whether, it's rolling on a table, something happens and it's like roll on this table and that's the outcome. Or maybe it's a card draw type of thing.
Yeah. So, Todd makes a really good point on the thematic Deadlands with the poker deck for Magic. Yep. That's super thematic. I mean, you're playing a cowboy game. So I think that's Robert says zombies. Yes, always zombies. If it's Eric, it's zombies.
He knows me well. Robert's one of our local players, and if there's a zombie game, he's gonna play it with me. But
look at there, Alder beat me to it. Twisted. I have the engine deck.
There you go. Yep.
That ding goes to
That's
Alder.
yours, Alder.
That one's all yours.
I'll come right out and say I like this type of rules. It's, you guys know me. What I like about it is that these kind of rules seem to really fit what's going on in the game. They kind of make sense or of what they're supposed to represent or reproduce.
Right.
And these kind of games, I think, really lend towards what we like the most in games is narrative element.
Yeah, I think they do too. I think not to beat a dead horse. It's not really a dead horse, but I think Don't Look Back does that too thematically. They got the knife for the measuring stick, and then you've got the flashlights that flip for the lighted areas.
And there's quite a few charts in there too.
That one a lot these past few weeks.
I wonder why.
But I don't know. But as far as like the chart thing, if you want a chart for building a theme that's part of the actual rule mechanic, you got to play 5 parsecs.
Oh my gosh, there's chart after chart after chart after chart there. Yeah,
so many you can't even say it that many times. It's like a tongue twister to you. You messed it up the last time you said it. There's so many of them. So yeah, there's a lot of charts. Every piece of the game should touch the theme. Cards, layout, even the dice. Every aspect should hint at it or further the lore. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And it's like you said, Eric, those games really lend themselves to narrative. I mean, they just kind of there's almost not too much distinction between the two.
Yeah, it's kind of the fine line, and I think because of that, these kind of games are way easier to get into. I mean, they're easier to get in, not just engrossed, but to actually remember the rules, because it's kind of like common sense in a way. It's like, well, this is going to happen, so this rule, makes sense. That's what the cause and effect type of thing is.
Yeah, I think Ron said too, Malifaux does a good job of that too, and I think they do. But the statement earlier is super correct in that, like, if your cards are themed that way, if your dice are themed that way, the more stuff, your tokens, whatever it is, if they build on the game, then it's Todd just threw the perfect word out. He said
immersion.
That's it. And incidentally, I love the shifting knobs in Gaslands too. Those are cool. But yeah, it is. It's the immersion, even down to, again, referencing Don't Look Back, even down to the moving widget.
Yeah.
It's Michael Myers. I'm sorry. It's the William Shatner masked.
It's William.
It's William. There you go. It's William, the psychopath.
William Myers. Now, I think these rules too, these type of rules are easy to adjust on the fly, like your home brew type of rules. Yeah. So it kind of lends itself to the fun of play, which is kind of really the most important thing about gaming is having fun. And we'll touch on this when we go to the mechanic side, where, if you're just kind of going along with the rules and not having fun, that's how I feel on the other side, but we'll get into that.
Well, yeah, some people are out for the W though, and that's okay too. Yeah. I mean, you can play that
it's
way.
It's a whole different kind of gaming experience.
Yeah, I don't think we actually talk about a lot of those games, but one of the cons, I think, for a thematic game, outside of one that uses a bunch of tables, because Alder mentioned this is not a test, and it has great charts and stuff too. I personally like the Cyberpunk game by the same author, and I'm totally drawing a blank. I wish my bookshelf was facing this way so I could read it. I'm totally drawing a blank on the name of it, but the charts in it really develop it. But what I think one thing that can be a con for some of the thematic games is it can be a little bit harder to get into it for the full immersion, because then you want whatever the fancy cards are, you want the tokens, you want
the bling, kind of the bling almost.
All the bling that comes with it and that matches everything.
Yeah.
Reality's Edge. Thank you. I was totally drawing a blank on it, and the book is fantastic. Totally reminds me of Cyber.
Say, Matt.
Hardwired, I've heard good things about too.
So one of the other things I thought, now this could be, it could be a con, but it could be a pro too, because it gives variability, is that sometimes these games can seem unbalanced within the factions and the different characters and their abilities, or strategy planning, for the game can be kind of low. So I think that could be a con, but then it also could be like I said, a pro, because it does give you almost like ownership of whatever faction you're getting into. I think of Wild West Exodus, and I got into that. I fell in love with Enlightened, and that was it. And I didn't even look at any of the other factions.
It was zombies. I already told you, zombies.
It is kind of zombies, or reanimates. So that, I guess that's kind of could be viewed differently by different people, though. So some people like that variety.
There's we're not to the next part of it, but I got a couple comments on that. But it really is, so the thematic stuff is really a credit to the writers of the games that are heavily thematic. And what I mean, it's not to say that the ones that are very rules driven aren't good. It's just, it's a different approach. It's like we've talked about a lot of times, where you have these miniature agnostic and kind of story agnostic kind of games. You know what I mean? Where the idea behind it is create your own world, do your own thing. That's super fun.
Which is very closely related. You think about RPGs, right?
Right.
You're making a story together.
Right. But that does lend itself more to the rules side. And I don't know if you're ready to segue to that or not.
Yeah, we should go ahead and jump into the mechanics side. Now, this is kind of another close one, because rules for mechanics are just kind of a subset of the general rules, right? That kind of guide you how to play the game. So now, another definition. So a game's mechanics are the rules and procedures that guide the player and the game's response to the player's moves or actions.
Right.
So it gives you a goal.
So for me, that one, Ganesha Games. Okay. Song of Blades and Heroes rules engine. It is a rule set. Now, the guy who created Song of Blades and Heroes has created themed books. So you've got Fear and Faith, which is basically their horror version. You've got ray guns, mutants, death rays, mutants, and ray guns, or something.
I think that's what it is.
And then you've got, of course, Song of Blades and Heroes. Deep Wars uses that same engine, and Shadow Sea. So in my mind, that's when I think about mechanics. I think that's what I think about. I think about that kind of generic rules engine that drives a game, that is it's unnecessary to define a theme.
Yeah, it's like do A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3,
right,
to try to get this, but you have to have that strategy, weaving into those points. Going back to balance, Matt said a good point here. Unbalanced can be okay when there is an opportunity to chase both sides of the balance for all players.
Yeah, I'm okay with unbalanced.
Yeah,
because I'm playing a story. Now, I think when you're going with that rules like engine and you're just looking at a mechanic, then I think, because I think those games tend to lend themselves, the mechanic driven ones, to and I could be totally wrong. I mean, we're just rambling here anyway, but I think those kind of drive right. That drives it. Yeah, you guys are listening to our opinion, so we can't help you. We have no idea what we're actually talking about, none whatsoever. But I think those games tend to be driven more towards competitive play.
Yeah, tournament play, like you mentioned earlier, the win. Right. Not to say that isn't fun. That's a lot of fun for people. Is that competition level game.
Well, and here Todd makes a comment, and I know we've discussed this exact thing before, is unbalanced games can lead to this is the way gameplay. And I think I know what you're saying, Todd, and correct me if I'm wrong. But, well, actually, I'm not going to directly address that. But I think where we have talked so much about narrative and thematic games, I think it's much easier for us and a lot of the people that listen to us that don't really play competitively to say unbalanced is okay, because since we're trying to tell a story, we might get curb stomped, and us getting curb stomped might have been the best thing that could have happened for the story that we were telling.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter, but that doesn't work for everybody. And just like Todd is saying, it can lead to basically min-maxing lists.
Yes,
throw out some
exactly.
of my old 40K terminology, right? To min-maxing lists. And that, I don't think that's any fun. For me, I know people like to do that. I had a buddy of mine I used to play 40K with, and we would have a game scheduled for a Saturday, and he would be like, "Oh, well, I made 14 different army lists." I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to just pick mine out of the box when you get here." so I'm probably going to lose, but I play orcs, so I'm going to roll a bunch of dice.
Yeah. Now, one of the thoughts I thought about rules for mechanics, and we're talking about balance and unbalance, is that sometimes I feel like, because I've done competitive play that's had straight rules, do this, this, it can kind of almost sour the play sometimes. It takes you out of that world where you're just systematically doing stuff. But
like playing checkers.
Yeah, I mean, or chess.
It's a great game, but I mean, not that you can't have thematic checkers. I mean, how many Star Wars chess sets and checkerboards and everything else is there out there? Matt says too, it's important to know the goal of play for the people participating, and I agree with that. And you tend to gravitate towards the people that play your style. Now, I can't speak to how game stores work because I don't have one, and I haven't had one since I was stationed in California, and all I was playing at the time was 40K. That's about all there was. A few other games, but the big one was 40K. But you tend to gravitate, if you're a competitive player, you tend to gravitate towards competitive players because you're going to stomp the narrative guy every time unless his dice are hot because he picked his army or his squad or whatever it is based on how sweet his models look. You know what I mean? So.
And it always had me ask if it's like that way. Why would it work that way? Why does it make sense for the presentation of the game? Kind of like may make good gameplay reasons, but those good gameplay reasons don't fit in that presentation. It can. I mean, you can customize it, like we said, all the bling.
What do we got here? Tyler says, totally off topic. Want to thank you guys for helping me get back into the hobby. Been working on commandos for Kill Team.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, he joined us for the hobby hangout and got fired up.
Yeah, awesome. That's good, man. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, so I know what you're saying, and
I threw out a lot of words there.
Yeah, but I'm having a hard time like articulating what I want to say about that. I know what you mean. I'm trying to find an example in my head of a rule that works, but kind of is just like it doesn't really fit.
Yeah, but some would argue it's good game design.
Yeah,
but I think gamers should pose a series of, in a way you think about it should present a bunch of interesting and good decisions for you in that kind of rules for mechanics. So if it doesn't,
I think even in rules for mechanics lately in the past couple of years, even for just like really engine driven gaming, that's just a rule set basically, I think we've seen a lot more theme creep into it just because everybody's had to do this solo stuff. And by default, if you're creating stuff, I think for people to go play solo, you're kind of automatically creating a narrative and building more of a theme because you're playing by yourself. So you kind of have to build that in. So Matt said, if you want to play competitively, it's important to play a game designed for it. I agree. There are definitely games that you should not play competitively because, well, you can play any game competitively against me because for anyone who's ever played me in a game, you're going to win. It's okay.
And I think nowadays there's a lot of games that run that fine line of a mix of these two type of things, and sometimes games can seem like the theme is just pasted on. Not that that's a bad thing, but it may be the reason it's there is to draw you in, and then you may find out that you do like those mechanics in the game.
Right.
So
and there's so much. Really, there's so much stuff out there. There's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? I mean, you can look at. I don't care what games you look at. There are similarities in all of them.
Yeah.
There really are. I think we've talked about and played enough and read enough rule books and spent enough money on rule books over the past couple of years to kind of see all of the similarities, which is really nice about skirmish games too, because it makes it easier to pick up all these other games. You know what I mean? You already know what you're doing. So Mini Warmutt says, like Miss Trish Blue skill of full auto in Zombicide. Okay, I don't know that skill, but I'll go look at it. Substitutes dice with number of zombies in the zone. Oh, that's brutal. Like rolling dice for orcs in 40K. Yeah, that's what you got to do, man. Let's see what else we got. Look at you guys. Todd said our hobby heroes. Aw, shucks. Mini Warmutt said that we rock. Back to the game. Go kill some more zombies. They're on. Super competitive players can ruin a new player, cause them to not want to play. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember my first game of 40K. I'm surprised I'm still a gamer.
Oh, man.
After my first game of 40K, I was like, wow, thanks for letting me move those 4 guys. I really appreciate that. That was fun. I'm going to leave now. Yeah, and I already can't roll worth a darn. So
we've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got video evidence of that now. You guys thought I was just kidding. I'm not.
But I think kind of to sum this up in a way, I think rules for theme, they kind of, like I mentioned, they make sense. They're a little more intuitive, where sometimes rules for mechanics aren't so intuitive, but you do have that opportunity to plan and build strategy for, to win. I think it comes down to what kind of game are you looking for? And that's a personal choice by everybody, whether you want something that's has that flavor, gets you sucked into that world and have fun. But that's not to say that the mechanic side, where straight mechanics can't tell a story either and get you sucked into the game.
And I think one caveat on all of this is that you might be surprised, because Matt's the one that said this, to let your opponent know what you're looking for in a game. And I say that because I think most people would be surprised at how many competitive players are just happy to play a narrative game too.
Oh yeah.
And narrative players don't mind playing a competitive game. I mean, because you don't come to the table and go, man, I sure hope I lose today. Well, you don't show up.
We kind of did in a tournament. We were like, it's a tournament?
Maybe.
Bye, Alder. Get back to work.
Oh yeah, see, get back to work, Alder. Come on now. What are you doing? Watching some podcast while you're supposed to be at work. But I think people would be surprised, and that's very valuable information from Matt to say that. Know what your opponent wants to play.
Don't be afraid to talk about that stuff.
Exactly. Blow your mind. Ready for this one? Ask them.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to play a narrative game instead of crunching numbers? Yeah, sure. I don't usually do that. And then you can get up off the floor after they say that, because it's not really going to be that surprising. I promise.
Yeah.
So
I like this quote that Todd brought up here. Some want to zoom around on stock cars. Others want to tune the cart for the perfect ride.
Yep. But sometimes, after you get it perfectly tuned, you want to go just zoom around too. So as long as you know what you're getting into with your opponent and they know, I think generally speaking, you're going to have a good experience. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make of it what you want anyway. Because even if you play against somebody who's competitive and you came for a narrative game and you didn't talk to them, you can either be miserable about it or you can have fun regardless. because the reality is I should have starred the one that Todd set up there. Is you're really just looking for an excuse to play with your little tiny plastic metal KieLoKaz or resin min.
I can find that because I know where that was. That was way
that was way up there. But that's the truth. I mean, even the guys that are super competitive, they're just looking for an excuse to play with their little plastic min, just like the guys that want to play narrative games, just want to play with your little plastic min that you've put so much time building, painting, whatever. That's just the reality. We're playing games.
Yep. Well, look at that. Just like that.
Boom.
Bam.
30 minutes in gaming.
It goes so fast.
It does.
Before we get out of here, guys, I actually wanted to mention to you guys, we just did, before we went live, we posted a new thing in our Discord for basically listener questions, like short topics or, anything that you want to hear us babble about, or just a general question. Maybe you have a general question for us. We like talking about what you guys get us thinking about, because we want to see what the community is thinking about, right?
Man, look at that. Matt's just all over some good points today. It's okay to want to play competitive games. Sometimes I think people feel bad for wanting to be competitive. I think you're right. I think you're right, because there has been some bad taste in people's mouths from people that are not just competitive, but are like ridiculously competitive. It's
almost like he writes games and stuff.
I saw it. It kind of seems like it, doesn't it? Wow. He should write a game.
Yeah.
He should definitely write a game. We might even talk about it sometime on the show if he were to write a game.
Maybe.
All right. You're taking us out tonight. I don't care if it's my turn. It's been a long week.
Okay. Well, guys, go find that little section in the Discord. I'll probably put something up on Facebook too for you guys that use that. But thanks for tuning in this Thursday night shorts, guys. We are here every Thursday babbling about something. But if you want more stuff, some audio content, visit us at any place you can find a podcast platform. And also check us out on the social platforms, the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the Twitters, the Instagrams, and Discords. Go like, subscribe, follow all those places. There's the Discord link. We'll have that in the show note. We really like the Discord because people are posting what they're working on. So we get ideas and you get ideas. But if you want to support us like what we're doing, visit us on Patreon/Indie Invasion. Every little penny that you guys send us helps keep the lights on, helps us keep doing what we're doing, what we love chatting about.
I'm going to have my lights on whether you send pennies or not. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep my lights on. I'm just saying.
But also, if you want some merch, we got merch over on Redbubble/people/Indie Invasion. We got hats, shirts, mugs, stickers, all kinds of stuff over there. Redbubble's got just about anything you could want, put on a wall, decorate your bedroom with, or your bathroom.
Redbubble's pretty cool, man. I like Redbubble. And by the way, if you're a hoodie guy, you bought an Indie Invasion hoodie too, right?
Yeah.
So did I, and I'm kind of a hoodie Nazi because I live in the South, and it's like my only jacket is my hoodie, and it's a pretty good quality hoodie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I was a little bit surprised. I was expecting the kind of cheap, super thin.
Eventually, if we get above 50 degrees, I can wear it outside. But anyway, guys, once again, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, prepare yourself for the invasion.